Hello there, my fellow bread enthusiasts. It is your boy, the Unholy Toucanus, the 37th here. I have a list of all the breads that I've eaten throughout my life. And what better way to celebrate the item, the delicacy of bread, than ranking them to find out which one's my actual favorite? Because I must say, I don't actually hate bread, but there's definitely some breads I like more than others. With that in mind, I feel like we should just head straight in with my least favorite. Okay, this one's called ciabatta, ciabrata. Okay, honestly, I don't know the pronunciation to this bread, but honestly, that's a good thing. Because honestly, I fucking hate this bread. And there's some people that can do it justice, but by looking at it, it's a crunchy outside and a soft inside. But the ones I've had were never like that. They were always just they were always just so soft and there's no flavor. But the thing is naturally, a bread of this stature would have some kind of way for you to add stuff to it, make it like a sandwich. But it just looks like it just looks like a roll that you just eat whole, and it's not even a good roll. It just tastes like sponges. But even I think sponges would taste freaking amazing, bro. If I were to eat SpongeBob, at least he would laugh before I devour him. This is just depressing. Ah yes, white bread, the pinnacle of all breads, the staple of it all. And to me, this bread represents the start of all breads. Yes, breads like the French loaf and also the baguette might also count as white bread. And just like the French, people will criticize you heavy for choosing this kind of bread of all other breads. But art has a way of separating people from their morals. Overall, not bad. Ah yes, here's where things start to get interesting. You see, what makes whole wheat a step in the right direction is the slight graininess you receive upon the first bite. It's not as much as whole grain or multi-grain, which yes, there is a difference by the way, which is good if you still want that mild bread flavor mixed with slight graininess. Not my first pick, but definitely a good choice. I didn't really think that Danishes were bread at first when I first tried them, so it made it really weird when I first bit into it and taste bread, because, I'd expect it to be very sweet. But, it's not bad. I just can't see myself having Danishes anytime soon, unless they're cheese. If I have a cheese Danish one day for the first time, oh man, it's going down. But, of course, it's not bad. I just don't see myself getting one anytime soon. Oh my, I know, I gotta give some real creativity points to Raisin Cinnamon. It finds the perfect way of combining sweetness with bread, and honestly, if you can pull that off, then obviously it's gonna be really, really good. And, it's in the same vein as the common pastry. And, not gonna lie, I haven't had these in a long time, but I do know the bread and sweetness balance out almost satisfying and savory-like. And since these are from big companies though, or if you get them from big companies, there are going to be so much preservatives than any other bread in this collection. So it's not going to be my choice as a wannabe health nut, but it's a pretty good pleasure meal. Pretty good. Anyone out there who doesn't know what these are essentially like sourdough with the inside being the sour. Homemade pierogi has no reason being as hard as they do, yet they decide to do it anyway. You gotta get an even balance of both sauerkraut and bread, and if you can pull it off, it becomes amazing. It's like the sauerkraut isn't even there. I'm not gonna go full sausage McMuffin with the English muffin simply because it would be too unfair, as the sausage McMuffin dominates, easily being the second best sausage thing to ever exist. The first, of course, being dictionary terms. It's dry, but in a good way, because you're supposed to add things on top of it, and when you do, oh. Now this is what I'm talking about. As a wannabe health nut, nothing has touched my heart and my balls more than whole grain bread. The fiber, the protein, it's the bread's way of saying, shh, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be alright. You never have to feel bad about eating bread ever again. The taste is so immaculate that even though it still might have sugar, I'm so proud to call myself a sugar daddy because of this bread. And the very same can be said about multi-grain bread as well. Sourdough presents ideas not seen in many breads, as the slight subtleness of the sour makes you appreciate the slight pull that the bread gives you. Unlike my cum, of course, the slices you're given are a nice thickness that complements this well-said pull, like I said before. Definitely a go-to. Speaking of good pull, talk about pulling my dick and calling me Sarah. Rye bread has the shape, the flavor. You can make meals with just the heels because of how unique they're shaped. I guess you could say I fall head over heels with this bread. My sister is dead. You know, I quite like me some biscuits. You know, they have a nice like little softness to them, which I quite like considering how it goes in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, I wouldn't say it's my favorite compared to scones. You know, and you know, people complain about that. Actually, I'm gonna get on this. People complain about how, you know, the biscuits get in your mouth and they, like, you know, go down your throat and they make you choke. But honestly, I quite like that for some reason. Call me a masochist or say I have a kink, but I quite like it. It's not bad. My absolute favorite. Scones are top tier over biscuits and it's not even close. Scones feel like they should be hard, but in fact, they just go hard. The flakiness that resonates off your salivary glands is nothing but nut-worthy. Nothing that much of burger buns, but you know, if you were to add things to them, they're really freaking good depending on which ones you get. And you know, when you add everything and you put it in your mouth, you know, and it gets lodged in your throat, like, it's really good just to have that meat in your mouth, you know, with burgers. And you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, hot dogs also. You know, those are technically the same thing. Hot dogs are just on that 2D field, you know what I'm saying? You've never had bread like Villaggio bread. If you haven't had Villaggio bread, it means you saw the Geo in Villaggio and thought it was a Dio reference and never actually tried it. The beauty of the flour on the best part of the crust. Like, if you don't like that upper crust, I'm sorry, then you're just not human. And you know, it's like a weeaboo moment. Because you know, if it's white bread and Italian, that automatically puts it like way, way higher. And this is only described by my next point. Imagine if you could make French toast with my cum. That would be funny, I think. Talk about top notch. Who would have thought the cock fruit would actually make a smooth and filling loaf? And surprisingly, if you make it right, it's not actually that sweet, and you know, it's really good once you add like chocolate chips and walnuts to it. Bro, what do I even need to say? It's bread mixed with the joyous whimsy of the world. I freaking love garlic bread. When it has, especially when it has this like crunch to it. Like, yeah, there's some time for soft breads, but you know, if done right, hard bread can dominate. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna review these separately, but if you ever had burritos, enchiladas, taquillas, they have the juice, the cheese, the pure love from all the Mexican gilfs out there, and just, I can't get enough of it. If Hot Pretzels was literally a hot dude named Pretzels, I would not mind pressing my face against his ass crack to get a good whiff, because they make these things so good. It's one of the only times I could say salt and bread are actually done like really right. And like, yes, it can get a bit too much sometimes, but it really depends on where you're getting it from. I don't know how many of you know what these are, but essentially, they're buns with cheese on them, and I'm talking just cheese, not those boring-ass flat ones with pizza sauce on them. Those suck actual gorilla dick. I like the plump and cheesiness on both the bread and the cheese. And, you know, I can actually tell it's cheese and not some artificial cheese playing pretend, you know? Like, it's actually, like, decent cheese. The only downside is that these are really, really greasy. So greasy, you could probably wank off of the grease and probably, like, be satisfied. My goodness. Oh my gracious. I think I've ruptured an artery because of how good and unbelievable foie gras bread is. If you get hit with delectable cheese and then bitch smacked by the nice oniony herby taste, like if I ever had to choose a bread, then it's definitely foie gras bread, like number one. So yeah guys, that's my list. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any differing opinions, put them in the comments below. Just know that you're actively wrong. So yeah, have a good day, my bread gamers.